99% of all Western music can be defined as using two main elements.
This can only be good.
Chords and scales. We previously covered chords as skips. So remember your C major chords, C, E, and G. We're skipping the notes D and F in between. Now by contrast, a scale is composed entirely of steps. So literally just think one key to the next key on the piano. So you may or may not have realized by now, but we've actually already done a scale exercise. Stepping. Going from C to G is what we call a pentascale. As the name suggests, a 5-note scale. Today we're going to focus on a 7-note scale.
7!
This is important because all major and all minor scales are 7 notes, and 99% of classical music from like late 1500s to modern pop today uses major and minor scales.
Is he trying to blow my mind?
So our focus today is going to be learning how to play a C major scale. So often students ask me, why do we do everything from C first?
But why?
The answer is simple. Music is governed by patterns. C is the easiest key to start from. It basically cuts off part of the piano. The next two notes in our C major scale, going from our pentascale to our major scale, is an A and a B. So it's just white keys. But the technique that you need to play a C major scale, the technique you need to play a C major chord, is the same as an F sharp, a B flat, a G, anything. All chords, all scales, it's the same technical patterns.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing, Mike.
So I think it's paramount to start with the kinesthetic portion of the instrument, feeling positions, understanding technique, and once you have a better grasp on this, it's much easier to move into the theoretical realm of construction. How do we make a minor scale? How do we make a major chord? All of these elements are much easier digested when you have something tangible to go off of. Oh, my A major chord looks like this. Oh, my G minor chord looks like this. So in later lessons we will cover this, but for now our focus is purely on technical execution.
Execution!
So next, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to go through how to properly execute a C major scale. Our previous 3 core elements of technique always hold true. So don't forget finger position, wrist posture, and general body awareness. But there's a vital new fundamental element of technique introduced with the scale.
Nothing new, I hope.
Which is why I introduce it so early in a student's musical journey. The crossover and the cross under. Basically, your thumb crosses under or one of your other fingers crosses over your thumb. We use this to move position of the hand without actually having to pick up the hand. So this allows us to play connected lines all the way across the keyboard and allows us to have a singular motion in our playing. So basically, if you can do this, you can play fast. If you can't do this, you'll never be able to play fast.
Oh, that is really, really sad.
Which is why I like to introduce it early so that students drill the motor pattern and then they can be able to play much more complex music in a shorter period of time. Now for the execution. The most important element, the golden rule for moving position, less is more. Less is always more. And it's pretty simple. The more easily repeatable the action, the less you're doing, the more positive repetition you're going to get, and the less unforced errors you're going to make. So in relation to our cross under and crossover, just tuck your thumb. Oftentimes, I'll see 2 main technical errors in this. The first is the lifting of the elbow. So they'll get to the point where they need to cross the thumb, and then instead of tucking the thumb across the hand, they pick up their elbow to finish the job for them. Secondly, the other technical error I see is the turning of the wrist. So instead of picking up the elbow to cross the thumb, they'll turn their wrist sideways to move the thumb. Now this is just excessive motion, it causes disconnection in your notes, and it's a much larger motion than just tucking your thumb or crossing your finger over your thumb. What I like to tell students is pretend your hand is a dinner table. On top of your hand is the plates. If your hand turns over, if your wrist comes up, those plates are going to fall on the ground and you can't eat your food. That's sad because I like to eat. I hope most people do too. So the easiest thing to think about to really hammer out this motion is feel your thumb. There's like a pulling across your thumb. There's muscles in there and they're probably not as limber and as agile as you need them to be. What else do you need to do this with anything else in your daily life with your thumbs? Probably not. So pull the thumb. It's not, it shouldn't hurt, but it is a little bit uncomfortable at first. You have to get your body used to the necessary motion that you need to make. So when you're doing this pattern, focus on the thumb pulling across. And it's the same thing when you're crossing over. Before we do the full 7-note scales, I like to start students off with this preparatory exercise. I just call it back and forth. Basically, you play 3 notes, you play under with your thumb, and then you turn back around. So all it does is isolate the crossover and cross under element of technique. Once you feel comfortable or just like you've got a decent handle on it, then I would continue on to doing the full major scale hand separate. Now that we have the technique, we're on to the execution. Scales consist of groups of 3 and 4 notes. 3 plus 4 equals 7, so we got all our notes in there. If you know your groups of 3 and 4, you know not only the notes, but you also understand the fingering that you need to play the scale as well. Though, interestingly, our hands are inversions of each other. They're not copies. So what I mean by that is like we don't play piano like this, but we play like this. So our scale groups are actually inverted between hands. This is like kind of difficult to conceptualize at first. So as a result, we just start hand separate. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put our right hand, first finger, our thumb, in our middle C position. So our first group of 3 is starting on our thumb. C, D, and E, just like our back and forth exercise. So when we get to this F, we're gonna cross our thumb under, but now we're gonna open the hand, and our new 4-note position that we landed in is F, G, A, and B. If we would like to continue on with the scale, we would tuck our thumb under to C, and look, we're in the exact same position except 1 octave higher. I like to start students with 1 octave scales first, so instead we're gonna put our pinky on this C, and we're gonna walk back down, doing the exact opposite. So instead of crossing under, we're gonna cross over. So when we get our thumb to F, we're gonna cross over our 3rd finger to E, and then walk out the rest of the scale. This is our C major scale for our right hand. Now for the left hand. So remember what I said earlier, our hands are inversions, right? So the last note we played in our right hand was our pinky. So the first note we're going to play in our left hand is going to be a pinky. We're going to put that pinky on the C below middle C. Now, and this is sometimes kind of confusing for students, the group of 4 does not start on the pinky. It actually starts on the D because that's where our 4th finger is. So look, count up. D, E, F, and G. That's our group of 4 in our left hand. Then we're gonna cross over our 3rd finger, and now we're in our new group of 3, A, B, and C. Then we're gonna do the same thing, but reversed going down. So we play our group of 3, we cross our thumb under to G, and then we walk our hand all the way back down. And that is your C major scale for your left hand and previously for your right hand. Lastly, don't forget Do this hand separate for a while first. Use your metronome early and often. Once you feel comfortable, start playing. You can use the subdivision that we talked about in our stepping exercise. And when you get ready, you can even do hands together. Take your time, use your metronome with it. Remember, this is the first time your fingers are actually moving at different times, so they're like independent of one another. The learning curve is a little bit steep for this. It's one of my favorite sayings is, it's hard until it's not. And that's just how it goes. Some students pick up the scales really quick, some takes a little bit of time. That's fine. Stick to where it's comfortable. Push yourself, increase your metronome tempo a little bit. If hands together is hard, that's fine. Try it once or twice. If it doesn't work out, go back to hands separate. It'll come with due time. As always, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, give me some feedback. Let me know how this is going for you. I really want you guys to just be the best musicians you can be possible. I know what music has done for me, and it's just something I really want to share with anyone that's willing to take the time to learn. So let me know. Hope all is well. Stay powerful, y'all.